Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Dmitri Toul. Now we're going to be discussing Dmitri's incredible novel, The Scrolls of Belbou. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, man, it's a lot of other places. I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is simply type it into a search bar, sit back, and be greeted with all of it. And before I go any further, I want to quickly point out the fact that Dmitri was brought to us by Author Reputation Press. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process and now you find yourself in a precarious position, you find yourself at a fork in the road because now you need some assistance moving that masterpiece you developed, head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team, they're going to take the pressure off, and they're going to do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure, people, to have Dmitri here on the line. Man, listen, okay, this is much more than an epic journey. Now, first and foremost, understand me when I tell you, this is an epic journey, okay? The Scrolls of Belbou is going to be one you're not able to put down. A wonderful journey for my fantasy lovers out there. You are in for a treat, but it offers so much more, okay? What if the fight to reclaim a forgotten history is actually the same battle we're facing against misinformation today? Now, that's a loaded question, and it is one that I love, man, because listen, as an artist myself, as a filmmaker myself, I often find with projects that I'm working on, what can be pulled? Where is the connection that can be made? Because listen, I think art is a gateway in so many ways where it can truly be a mirror to society. And in my opinion, you got to read between the lines because it's not right there, but there's stark contrasts. The Scrolls of Belbou is that mirror. It is a powerful allegory for our current moment, where we are in the United States, but where we are in the world, where we are with our human family. This isn't just a fantasy about a boy's duty. Now, that it is, but it could also be a blueprint for how individual courage and friendship can combat overwhelming force. Man, sit back, strap in. We are about to unpack how this epic tale, it mirrors the struggles for truth and agency in our own society. I'm looking forward to this one. Let's begin. Dmitri, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, and I thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Dmitri, listen, man, it is a pleasure to have you. I love what you've done. Not only is your book remarkably entertaining, but it offers so much wisdom that I feel can be taken. And I love the fact that we have this opportunity to sit down and discuss it with you, man. Before we go into the book, Dmitri, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
When I wrote the book, I was a much younger man than I am now. And that's not saying a whole lot, but now, like I say, I was a much younger man. And I wrote it basically for my young son. And it's a good story. It's a good story of good over evil. And that's always pleasing to the audience. I believe people enjoy such stories, for they seem to resonate with what is good in all of us.
Yeah.
My main inspiration, of course, is my son. I wrote the story when he was just a young boy, to hopefully instill in him the moral compass to help him be guided in life. He's almost a middle-aged man now, and he's been a wonderful blessing and basically a very good person. So whether that story is part of that, I don't know, but that's why I wrote it.
Yeah. Listen, Dmitri, I definitely feel like it has a part to play, right? As a father myself, I understand that our kids are always watching. I guess we'll say it that way, right? Our kids are always watching and they're taking it all in. So the example that you laid, whether it was through this book or just you as an individual, you as an adult, you as a man yourself, I'm sure it has laid a very solid foundation on ultimately the man that your son became. So I know that it had a big part to play, and I want to follow off of that a little bit because you're talking about your main protagonist and this call to duty, this sense of no matter what is at stake, you follow through with it. And I think I categorized this in the pre-screening call when you and I were speaking previously, that it's almost a modern interpretation of David versus Goliath, because your main protagonist, right? Listen, he's a boy, right? He's a boy simply doing his duty. Well, in an age of epic battles and large armies, why was it important for you to root your story in the transformative power of a single, seemingly small, righteous act or individual?
I think that act is very important. I know, of course, during wartime, great odds were overcome because one or two men stayed and did their duty against all odds.
Yeah.
But that doesn't just pertain to war. Somebody who goes to work every day and does his job best he can, that's doing his duty. It's not just about war, it's not about battles, but everyday living where a person supposed to show up at work every day. Well, in my opinion, that man is doing his duty.
Yeah.
You know, to take care of his family, he's doing his duty. It's something that's not just, like I say, about fighting huge battles. It's just everyday little things that you can do in your life.
Listen, Dmitri, before we really dive off of the diving board and try to really pull some contrasts between today's society and the book, I'm curious to know, man, throughout this writing process here for you, what was a highlight, man? What was something that either surprised you or a highlight that you weren't expecting before you began on the journey?
That's a tough question. But, yeah, it was just, I had something in my mind, a story, and I thought, of course, when you're doing a story, the best thing you do is just keep on writing and pluck things here out, throw things in, and see how they all come out together. But, yeah, it's just something that I put together, and when I got done looking at it, I says, hey, this is a pretty good story.
Yeah.
You start, and you don't know how it's going to end because you've never done it before, or if you've done it before, the best thing you do is just keep plugging away at it and see what comes about of it.
Absolutely.
That's what I did.
Okay. Listen, as I've mentioned before, and people listen, I don't want to belabor the fact because this, of course, wasn't listen, as Dmitri said, this book was written long ago. Now, I do find it striking in what can be seen within the book. And again, reading in between the lines. Let's start off right. Listen, it's in the title, The Scrolls of Belbou. So there are these ancient scrolls that contain, for otherwise, or lack of a better term, a suppressed history. Listen, Dmitri, I think it's a very interesting connection. And although it might not have been the impetus for this story when you wrote it all those years ago, we see a lot of things happening during today's time. And I'm not pointing any fingers because I think everybody or a lot of people are to blame for this, right? Everybody is playing a part in it. But in our current era of misinformation and this quote unquote alternative facts, narratives are weaponized. I'm curious to know, what can this story, what can Belbou's use of ancient scrolls teach us about the power of reclaiming truth and the importance of preserving accurate history against those who would otherwise want to erase it?
Yeah, wow. The scrolls uncovered a story that people of this island Eden, which where most of the story goes, they heard of a miracle, but they didn't know if it was hearsay or fantasy. And here they come across these scrolls where Belbou, he was a crippled man who, although crippled, it allowed him to become chief scribe to Nasha, the king's physician and sorcerer. His writing allowed the story to unfold as though he heard and saw everything that transpired. I put it in such a way that, okay, Where did he get all this information? In life, general life, there are people all around us that, in a way, are invisible to us. They see and hear everything. And so it was with this concept that Belbou put this story together on scrolls, but not knowing who was going to read it, but he was able to, because he was basically, the people that told him about everything going on were basically, there's a lot of people like that. The man who cleans your floors where you work, or people like that. They're invisible most of the time, although they do a very important job. But it's these people that talk to Belbou and says, "This is what I heard. This is what I saw," and it unfolded in such a way that it was like he was there. He could tell this story.
Dmitri, thank you very much for all of that, man. And listen, my final question here for you. Listen, I've been assuming this whole time, okay? And I'm going to keep on doing that. But I want to hear it from you as we close out. Man, what conversation do you hope readers will have about their own world, or really about your book, after that final page?
I'm hoping, one, that, of course, they enjoy the story. And it's about a miracle that subdued an evil force. I believe this is something that resonates with people. And I hope when they're done reading, they said, "You know what? That was a very pleasing story. I can see that happening."
Yeah.
Maybe in their lives they could say, doing one's duty, doing what you're supposed to do, that's important, not only for each of us, but for all of us. So that's what I would want them to do.
Listen, I have no doubt, Dmitri, that they're going to do just that. And people, listen, remember, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. You got to head on over there, purchase your copies of the Scrolls of Belbou today. This, man, I said it before, and I'm going to close out by saying it again. It's more than a fantasy. In my mind, and again, I love art. Art is open to interpretation, and I know that wasn't the vision behind this book's creation, but there are a lot of things that can be gleaned. And the book is a powerful reminder that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes, man, that duty and friendship, it can be the most potent weapons of all. You got to head on over, purchase your copies of this book, and strap in for an amazing journey that you're going to take. A huge thanks to Dmitri for such an insightful conversation. People, remember, if you're ready for an epic that will both thrill you and make you think, you got to pick up your copies today. Dmitri, this has been a true pleasure, man. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Again, I appreciate you having me, and have a great day.